The moment my neighbor told me to pretend I forgot my passport, I knew something was wrong. My name is Iris Caldwell, and my husband had just handed me a surprise anniversary gift. A weekend cruise. Smiling. Warm. Perfect timing. Everything looked right. "Go enjoy it," he said, kissing my forehead. "You deserve it." Deserve. That word stayed with me as I walked out with my bags, because something about it didn't feel like a gift. It felt like a setup. I was halfway to the taxi when Mrs. Halpern, my elderly neighbor, called out softly from her porch. "Iris, wait!" I turned. She didn't come closer, just leaned slightly forward and said, low enough that no one else could hear, "Say you forgot your passport." I frowned. "What?" "Go back inside," she said. "Bathroom. 10 minutes. Don't come out early." Her eyes didn't look confused. They looked certain. "What will I understand?" I asked. She didn't answer, just said, "Trust me," and went quiet. I stood there for a second, heart steady, but mind racing, because people like her don't say things like that without a reason. So I turned around, walked back inside. My husband looked surprised. "What happened?" "I forgot my passport," I said. He paused, just for a second, then smiled again. "You go grab it." "Too easy." I nodded and went straight to the bathroom, locked the door, sat down, and waited. At first, nothing, just silence. Then voices, low, coming from the living room, and in less than 10 minutes, everything I thought I knew about my marriage was gone. At first, I couldn't make out the words, just voices, muffled, too calm, too familiar. I stood slowly, moving closer to the bathroom door, holding my breath without realizing it. Then I heard her. A woman, laughing, soft, comfortable, like she had been there before. "Are you sure she's gone?" she asked. "Gone. Not left, not traveling. Gone." My fingers tightened against the door handle. My husband answered, "Yes, she's already on her way. Already on her way." I didn't move, didn't breathe, because something inside me had just shifted. "You booked the suite, right?" she continued. "Of course," he said. 3 days. No interruptions. 3 days. No interruptions. I looked at my bag sitting beside the sink, the cruise ticket. The perfect timing. This wasn't a gift. It was a removal. "I still can't believe she didn't question it," the woman said. "She never does," he replied. That landed deeper than anything else, because it wasn't just betrayal. It was certainty, confidence, pattern. They knew me, and they used it. A small sound slipped from my throat before I could stop it. I froze. The voices outside paused. Silence. Heavy. Then, "Did you hear something?" the woman asked. My heart started pounding now. Too loud. Too fast. "No," he said after a second. "She's gone. Gone. Again." I stepped back slowly, pressing my hand against my mouth, because in that moment I understood exactly what my neighbor meant. 10 minutes. That's all it took. To hear the truth and realize I wasn't leaving for a trip. I was being sent away. I didn't open the door. Not yet, because once I did, everything would change. And I needed a few more seconds to think, to breathe, to decide. Outside, the voices got quieter again. Moving. Closer. I heard footsteps. Then a soft laugh. Right outside the hallway. Too close. "I missed you," she said. "I told you I'd handle it," he replied. Handle it, like I was a task, a problem to move out of the way. I closed my eyes for a second. Not out of weakness. Out of clarity. Because now there was no confusion left. No doubt. Just truth. When I opened them again, I wasn't shaking anymore. I was calm. Steady. I unlocked the bathroom door. Opened it slowly. The hallway was empty. But the bedroom door slightly open. That was enough. I didn't rush, didn't make noise. I walked forward quietly and stopped just before the door. Voices inside, closer now, unfiltered. "Chatra si ti shakchar chi chow." "I'll be gone all weekend," he said. "We don't have to rush." That was the last thing I needed to hear. I pushed the door open, not loudly, just enough, and stepped inside. They froze, exactly the way people do when they realize they've been caught in the middle of something they thought was hidden. Her, sitting on the edge of my bed. Him, standing too close to her. Both of them looking at me like they couldn't understand what they were seeing. "You forgot something?" he said, still trying, still pretending. I looked at him, then at her, then back at him. "Yes," I said. "My mistake." And in that moment, they still didn't understand, but they were about to. For a second, no one moved. No one spoke, because the situation didn't match their plan. I was supposed to be gone, miles away, unavailable, not standing in the doorway of my own bedroom. "You came back?" he said, like that was the problem, not what I walked into. I stepped inside slowly, closed the door behind me, not loud, just final. "She told me I forgot something," I said. My voice was calm, too calm. That made it worse. His eyes narrowed slightly. "Who told you?" I ignored the question. Instead, I looked at her, really looked, because I wanted to remember her face. The person who thought she could sit on my bed, in my house, and wait for me to disappear. She stood up quickly. "This isn't what it looks like." "It is," I said. And that stopped her. Because denial only works when there's doubt. And there wasn't any left. My husband tried next. "I was going to tell you," he said. Of course he was. They always are. "When?" I asked. He didn't answer. Because there's never a good time to confess something like this. Only better timing to hide it. "This was a mistake," he added. Mistake. That word again. Like planning a weekend together while sending your wife away. Was accidental. I nodded slowly. "I agree." That confused him, because that wasn't the reaction he expected. I reached into my bag, pulled out my phone, and dialed. He watched me now, carefully. "What are you doing?" he asked. I didn't answer him, I just waited, because this time I wasn't reacting, I was responding, and what happened next wasn't part of their plan. He stepped closer. "Iris, who are you calling?" I didn't look at him. I just kept the phone to my ear, because now every second mattered. The line connected. "I'm ready," I said. That was it. No explanation, no emotion, just confirmation. A pause on the other end. Then, understood. I ended the call. My husband stared at me. "Ready for what?" I finally looked at him. "For the part you didn't plan." Silence. Because now he knew something was wrong. Not just exposed. Out of control. "You're overreacting," he said quickly. "We can fix this." Fix. That word again. Always after the damage is done. I tilted my head slightly. "Like you fixed this weekend?" That landed. Hard. He didn't answer. Because he couldn't. The woman moved back slightly, grabbing her bag. "I should go." "No," I said calmly. Both of them froze. "You can stay," I added. "You were planning to." Her face tightened, because now leaving didn't protect her anymore. Nothing did. My husband ran a hand through his hair. "Iris, listen to me." "No," I said. Same tone, same calm, and that stopped him. Because he had never heard that from me before. Not like this. "You said I never question things," I continued. His expression shifted. Recognition. "Today," I said, "I did." A knock sounded at the front door. Sharp, precise, not random. And in that moment, everything changed again. Because whatever they thought this situation was, it wasn't anymore. The knock came again, not louder, just certain. My husband looked toward the door, then back at me. "What did you do?" he asked. For the first time, there was no control in his voice, just uncertainty. I didn't answer. I walked past him, down the hallway, opened the front door. 2 men stood there. Not police, not strangers either. Professional. Calm. One of them held a folder. "Mrs. Caldwell?" he asked. "Yes." He nodded once and handed it to me. "Everything has been processed." Processed. That word landed exactly where I wanted it to. I took the folder. Thank you. They didn't step inside, didn't ask questions, just left. Clean. Efficient. I closed the door and turned back. He was standing in the hallway now, watching me, trying to read something he couldn't understand. What is that? He asked. I walked back into the bedroom. Placed the folder on the bed, right where she had been sitting. Open it, I said. He hesitated, then reached for it. Inside documents. Stamped, signed, official. His eyes moved quickly at first, then slower. Then he stopped. What is this? He asked. But this time his voice wasn't steady. It's a transfer, I said calmly. He looked up at me, confused. No, that's not possible. It is. The woman stepped closer, trying to see, and that's when I said it. The house isn't yours anymore. Silence. Because now, they weren't just caught, they were losing something. Real. No, this isn't right, he said, flipping through the pages faster now, looking for a mistake, a loophole, something he could hold on to. There has to be an error, he added. There isn't. My voice stayed calm, because I'd already read every line. Twice. This property was always under my name, I continued. You just never paid attention. That stopped him, because now he wasn't just losing control, he was realizing he never had it. You transferred it? He asked. Yes. When? While you were planning your weekend. Silence. Heavy. Because the timing mattered. Because while he was arranging time with her, I was closing everything behind him. The woman stepped back again. Further this time, because now this wasn't just uncomfortable. It was real. You can't do this, he said. I tilted my head slightly. I just did. That landed. Hard. He looked around the room like something might still belong to him. The bed, the walls, the space. But ownership isn't a feeling, it's a fact. And facts don't negotiate. You're serious, he said. Not a question, a realization. Yes. No hesitation, no emotion, just truth. He ran his hand through his hair again, slower this time. What are we supposed to do? He asked. We. That word almost made me smile, because suddenly they were together, in the problem. I looked at both of them, calm, clear. You leave. And this time, there was no confusion about it. They didn't argue. Not this time. Because there was nothing left to argue with. No lies to build. No version to twist. Just documents. Facts. Final. He packed quickly. Not carefully. Not like someone leaving home, like someone being removed from it. She didn't speak at all. Just gathered her things, avoiding my eyes, because now there was no role left to play. At the door, he stopped. Iris, we can still fix this. Fix. One last time. I looked at him, really looked, and for the first time there was nothing there. No attachment, no hesitation, just clarity. You already fixed it, I said. He frowned. What does that mean? It means, I continued calmly, you showed me exactly who you are. Silence. Because that's the kind of truth that doesn't need explaining. He stood there for a second longer, waiting, hoping, for something that wasn't coming. Then he left. The door closed, and the house went quiet. Not empty. Clear. I walked back into the bedroom. The bed. The space. The place they thought they could take from me. Still exactly where it belonged. With me. My phone buzzed. A message from Mrs. Halpern. Did you understand? I typed back, yes. Because those 10 minutes didn't just expose a lie. They ended it.